Hello everyone, welcome to Lotus Wu audio and video channel. The positioning of true Buddha school in the religious community. When friends find out that I am a practitioner of esoteric Buddhism, they often ask, is that like the kind of esoteric Buddhism practiced by the Dalai Lama? Typically, I respond, yes, because when people think of esoteric Buddhism, they generally only think of the Dalai Lama and they are not familiar with the finer distinctions. Moreover, the methods of practice in the Tzu-Chi True Buddha school follow the path of four foundations: guru devotion, yidam practice, five vira practices, supreme esotericism, and great perfection, progressing gradually. These indeed are the practice methods of Tibetan Esoteric Buddhism. Those who have some knowledge of Tibetan Buddhism may continue to ask, which lineage do you belong to, Nyingma or Kagyu or Galag or Sakya? At this point, I would reply, the true Buddha school encompasses all four lineages. If their interest persists, I would recite the names of the lineage masters from the fundamental root guru, living Buddha Liansheng. Nyingma sect, the venerable monk Liao Ming. Sakya sect, Master Sakaya Zen Kong. Kagyu sect, H. 16th Karmapa. Galu sect, Master Tuteng Dorje. You are correct that if I were to tell friends who practice Tibetan Buddhism that the true Buddha school is Tibetan Esoteric Buddhism, they might not fully agree because there are indeed some differences between the two. For example, even the rituals and protocols differ. In the true Buddha school, the chanting of incense offering praise is included in the preliminary practices, which is unique to Chinese Exoteric Buddhism. Additionally, the Guan Sutra is a widely circulated and highly efficacious sutra transmitted through dreams in China. Indeed, in the rear practice of the true Buddha school, the practice of Nyanifo recitation of the Buddha's name originally belonged to the Pure Land school. In the main practice of the rituals, the threefold contemplation on the birth of Dharma, entering me entering contemplation, as well as the recitation of mantras, and entering samadhi, although sharing a similar essence with Tibetan Buddhism, are more concise in nature. In addition, the true Buddha school also practices the cultural tradition of burning joss paper, which is a unique custom in Chinese society. Burning joss paper is done to express gratitude to deities or to offer prayers to the deceased for dispelling calamities, resolving difficulties, or performing ancestral rituals. Our Supreme Guru Living Buddha Liansheng has transmitted to the propagators of the true Buddha school various worldly practices such as geomancy, divination, talismans, and more, which are not commonly found in mainstream Buddhism. Additionally, in his teachings and writings, the Living Buddha seamlessly integrates the three aspects of Tao, exoteric and esoteric, without being attached to any particular for more fixed Dharma method. His teachings encompass the Zen teachings that directly point to the mind, effortlessly incorporating and embodying them. The true Buddha school is indeed unique. It incorporates the practices of Tibetan Esoteric Buddhism, carries elements of Japanese Esoteric Buddhism, and also bears the flavor of Chinese Buddhism. Furthermore, the founder of the school is a native Taiwanese, and his teachings and discourses reflect a distinct Taiwanese style, often blending Mandarin and Taiwanese dialect. It is indeed different from traditional Tibetan Esoteric Buddhism. As for the precise positioning of the true Buddha school within the current religious realm, it can be seen as a combination of different aspects. It can be viewed as a new religious movement due to its distinct characteristics and teachings. It also incorporates aspects of Tibetan Esoteric Buddhism and Chinese Esoteric Buddhism. Therefore, the answer seems to be both yes and no to various categorizations. After the academic symposium on esoteric Buddhism organized by the Chinese True Buddha School Esoteric Buddhist General Association in Taiwan, we have obtained a more comprehensive answer to the aforementioned questions. Scholars who attended the conference unanimously agreed that the True Buddha School is a localized form of esoteric Buddhism in Taiwan and has evolved into an internationally recognized religious organization. Indeed, the term localized effectively resolves the issue of ambiguous positioning mentioned earlier. The concept of localization is easily understood. For instance, when esoteric Buddhism was transmitted from India to Tibet, it encountered and assimilated with local folk customs and beliefs. Over time, through gradual dissemination, it became localized as Tibetan Buddhism, even in the present-day practices of Tibetan Esoteric Buddhism, particularly in the Nyingma sect, still observe the influence of the indigenous traditional faith known as Bon. Similarly, the three great masters of Kaiwan introduced esoteric practices to China, merging them with traditional Chinese cultural and philosophical elements to create Tangmi, Chinese Esoteric Buddhism. Additionally, the great master Konghai traveled across the sea and brought back the flourishing esoteric practices from China to Japan. These practices underwent a process of localization and became known as Dongmi, or the Japanese esoteric tradition. Another example is when Bodhidharma brought Zen Buddhism to China and combined it with the existing Taoist and Laoist philosophies. It was through this integration that Zen Buddhism began to flourish. This signifies that different teachings within Buddhism can be tailored to suit the individual capacities and inclinations of sentient beings, utilizing various methods of guidance. We can also consider that this phenomenon of localization occurs not only in Buddhism but in all religions. When the teachings of a religion spread, the process of localization naturally takes place. Taiwan, being a place of religious freedom and cultural diversity, has seen the easy dissemination and convergence of Buddhism from China, Tibet, and Japan. Living Buddha Liansheng was born in Taiwan and grew up in Taiwan, would naturally come into contact with various religious practices, doctrines, and philosophies throughout his upbringing. After attaining accomplishment through the practice of esoteric Buddhism, it is natural for living Buddha Liansheng to utilize the methods of esoteric Buddhism to benefit sentient beings on their spiritual paths. However, incorporating the diverse cultural influences encountered and considering the varying capacities of sentient beings, living Buddha Liansheng imparts various means of guidance to enter the realm of Buddha's wisdom. This is a normal occurrence. From the perspective of an accomplished practitioner, all paths ultimately lead to the same destination, emphasizing equality. Due to the unique aspects of living Buddha Liansheng teachings that may differ from other schools of thought, the emergence of true Buddha school exists as it is. Therefore, true Buddha school is true Buddha school. I apologize for any confusion. True Buddha school is not a specific branch or sect of Tibetan Buddhism. It is important to understand that true Buddha school should not be viewed through the lens of Tibetan Buddhist practices and cultural traditions, just as one would not equate Japanese Esoteric Buddhism with Tibetan Buddhism based on their respective practices and cultural traditions. Each tradition has its unique characteristics and should be appreciated in its own context. I understand that Tibetan Buddhism has its own unique and well-established cultural and transmission traditions that its various branches and sects take pride in and strive to preserve. However, it is important not to become too fixated on Tibetan Buddhism alone. In fact, a serious study of the transmission methods within Tibetan Buddhism may reveal certain controversies or darker aspects that exist alongside the positive aspects. This is true for all sects or religions, as their transmission processes are not solely characterized by the positive aspects. The true Buddha school may also have its own challenges or controversies, but these do not hinder the dissemination of true Buddhist teachings. We cannot say that true Buddha school is not Buddhism just because it incorporates Taoist philosophy, just as we cannot say that Zen Buddhism is not Buddhism because it also incorporates Taoist philosophy. Furthermore, we cannot say that true Buddha school is not esoteric Buddhism just because it incorporates Taoist practices, just as we cannot say that Tibetan Esoteric Buddhism is not esoteric Buddhism because it incorporates ancient Bon rituals from Tibet. The Red School of Tibetan Buddhism has also absorbed rituals from the ancient Bon religion. The true Buddha school currently has over 300 branches and practice centers, as well as more than 30 Leizang temples worldwide, with a total of over 5 million disciples. The school is well equipped with both internal and external publications and actively conducts propagation activities comparable to other esoteric groups. Religious scholars have attempted to position the true Buddha school within the religious realm through academic means. As for future promotion and development, it depends on the efforts of the disciples of the true Buddha school. That's it for today. Please like, follow, and turn on the little bell. See you next time.